All you gorgeous souls. Hope you're having a great Friday today. I wanted to come in and do this quick little video for you. So when you jump on, let me know where you're coming in from and just say hey. For all of you out there, this is a really heightened time where we're getting really elevated to learn our lessons, yet sometimes we can not always see what those lessons are, and therefore like just start to spiral downwards when we see certain patterns or things appearing. So what I mean by that is when you understand how you learn best, therefore you can see the lesson that's presented to you, and it's in that given moment, in that consciousness, that when you're aware of the lesson is the moment that you can create transformation and change in your world. Hey Tracy, hey Michelle. And this is what I really want to be able to share with you, because sometimes we can see that we do certain patterns and continue just to like move into that space of spiral downwards and just beat ourselves up. I'll give you a classic example of what I'm sort of talking about, and how easy it is to get some of these things misunderstood and move into a not so great space, and that's not what I want for you. So the other day I was heading out, and my hair is really, really long, and so when I'm driving, if I don't have it in the right spot, my neck sits like that. And I was in a bit of a well, I would say I was just not in, I was very much in my own headspace. And I took my hair out and I got petrol and I went in. The young girl behind the counter said, "Oh my God, you have beautiful hair." And I went, "Oh, thanks so much, but I haven't brushed it. It looks like shit." And I was just like, I just stood there in my own moment. And then she went, "It's so beautiful and curly." And I'm like, yeah, it's just, and I just completely dismissed the gorgeous compliment that she had done. And I walked away and I was like, wow, Rachel, you were just right the arsehole, weren't they? You just really just took on board that wonderful compliment so well, such a gracious receiver. And I sat in the car and I was just like, wow, what a huge lesson to learn right in that moment. I could have either stayed in that space of just kept on beating myself up about how I managed to completely dismiss this beautiful, these two gorgeous compliments this woman had given me. Or in that given moment, I went, this is my lesson right now, is to learn to be a gracious receiver. And I just sort of went through and I was like, okay, what was my lesson? To learn to be a gracious receiver. What do I need to do to strengthen that communication? One, be more consciously aware, because I was in my head and not feeling into my soul. So it was like, okay, move outside of too much time in your head, feel into your soul. The moment someone says a compliment to you, my lesson, my action step from that was I made pact in that very given moment that the next time someone gave me a compliment, all I would say would be thank you, and not continue on with the but blah, 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 blah. And from that moment on, it's been something that has stayed in my awareness. And it's amazing, because when you understand what your lesson is, therefore what happens is your soul ramps this up, because it's consciously aware that you are really aware about this lesson and you want to strengthen it. So what your soul does is then it amplifies experiences to replicate that lesson, so you can strengthen that channel around the lesson that you want to learn. So from that moment that I made that conscious choice, and I just had so many people give me compliments as an opportunity for me to be able to learn my lesson, which was to be that gracious receiver by simply saying thank you and feeling it into my soul, not just hearing it in a logical level, but allowing myself to feel it into my soul and allow myself to receive the compliment. Now, this is happening for everyone else. There's all these gorgeous lessons that every single person is learning, depending on where you are, what your soul feels that it is your turn to, or what is the lesson that they want you to strengthen it on. Thank you for the gorgeous hearts. Hey, Shana, Tommy, Michelle, Angela. And this is why I wanted to come in and share this with you, because sometimes we see these lessons get presented to us, and sometimes we can move into that space of either beating yourself up about what you did wrong, or completely dismiss the opportunity to be able to even take the lesson, implement new action steps, find out how you can strengthen it and evolve and transform. Because as I said, it's in the consciousness is where transformation occurs. So if you go, oh, okay, if I had said to myself, oh, okay, I need to learn to be, you know, I didn't do that really good and just walked off, I would have been consciously aware of it, but not put in any action steps. So there's no strengthening it. So therefore, the same problem presents itself of I could have quite easily, you know, just received all of those compliments and continue to do that same pattern of going, thank you, but. Because the moment that you put, saying thank you is the appreciation and gratitude, but if you follow that up with a but, anything that you say after but deletes that first sentence. So by saying thank you, but, and then say something derogatory, your soul doesn't hear the thank you. It only focuses on the negativity that you're expressing. Definitely, Tracy, I totally resonate with yourself about, you know, she's written, when someone says something nice about something, you're not feeling great, but it's strange. I actually love getting compliments too. And that's the point as well. So thank you for bringing that up, Tracy. Most of the time we are always operating from a level of serving and supporting. So we're so great at being able to give a compliment to someone, to be able to remind them of their amazingness, to be able to share to them, be able to pick up that they're not having a great day and turn around and just say something to elevate and to remind them of their amazingness, yet not always such a great receiver. And as you've heard me say many a times, when it comes to manifesting, anyone can manifest the shit out of anything. That is not the problem. The problem and the gap becomes in the manifesting process when you don't allow yourself to receive. And that's receive on every level. It's not just receive gifts, but it's receiving compliments. It's someone receiving for you to receive that. If someone shares with you something beautiful or how grateful they are that you did something for them, allow yourself to receive that. And so this is why I really wanted to come in, because it's really, really such an important, valuable lesson to be able to learn, so that you can break cycles, you can elevate to that next level. It means that you're working in conjunction with your soul, because your soul is always saying to you, hey, this is our lesson and this is what we want you to be able to learn. Now, I always say, never get caught up on how many times you have to be able to look back at that lesson. This is not the first, second, or even the fifth time that I've looked at this lesson around being a gracious receiver. But every time I look at it, every time I revisit it, I'm learning something new. I'm becoming aware of it quicker. I'm strengthening it. I'm getting better at doing it. And so therefore, you're always constantly elevating. So the next time you come back and revisit the same scenario, you're not at that same position. You've elevated to that next level. And this is where we learn, is in that human consciousness, because it's in the human consciousness that is where that transformation comes. Not just going, you know, this happened, and just completely dismiss it and move on. So yeah, totally, Tracy. And as I said, the moment that you decide to commit to strengthening those types of things, it'll be so amazing how many times that particular lesson will amp up for you as an opportunity for you to expand, grow, and strengthen that area that may not be at the level. Because as you elevate and move through different levels within yourself, because I mean, we just have so many levels to learn about who we are. And then within that level, there are layers for you to be able to learn. When you've learned all those layers, you move up to the next level, so that all these other layers in here, they need to be recalibrated to that next level. So we could revisit the same thing over and over again so many times. Don't get caught up on how many times you're revisiting certain situations. Hey, Lorraine. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Helen. That is not the point, because that can also get you into a head funk and spiral you down. Or have you been able to say, God, how many times do I have to keep revisiting this? Am I not good enough? Am I not learning my lesson? No, you're learning it from a new layer. So don't get caught up on how many times you revisit it. Just learn that the moment that it's in your awareness, it means that you are committed and you're working in conjunction with your soul level. And that human part of yourself is in that moment where you make the conscious choice to commit to strengthening it. And it's the action steps that support and unite both that human and that soulful version of self. So this is how we get to integrate both parts of ourselves to work cohesively together, so we feel aligned and in flow. And as I said, you know, since I made that commitment, there's been so many people that have said compliments, and it was really interesting to see that sometimes I would receive a compliment, I'd be in my head and I just thought about it and then become aware of that. So as I said, that's a layer. The next time I got a compliment, I allowed myself to receive the compliment and allow it to feel into my body, to notice the difference on how different that lesson is learned from those two different components of ourself, that human and that soul place, and which one resonated better and which one deeply connected with you. And it's always on that soul, which is to feel into the words that are said to you, because words have the potential to heal or harm. So when someone's saying something beautiful to you, they're not just words that they're repeating just because they want to be nice to you or blow smoke up your ass. These words are coming from a gorgeous place within their heart that they're expressing for you. So if you only hear it here, you're only hearing those words on a small dimension. You're not actually feeling into the expression of where that is originated from the person that has given it to you. Just like when you give a compliment to someone, it's come from a beautiful heart space. It's not coming from, I think I should say this because it will make them feel nice. When you give a compliment, it's coming from your heart is opening and expanding, and you are sharing something from a beautiful place within your soul that you want to deliver and give to another person. And if they receive it, it makes them feel beautiful. It makes them feel like they matter. It makes them feel like they are worthy and they're valued. Well, you deserve to receive those same levels of worthiness, value, and deservingness as well. So if you're not feeling that when you receive a compliment, it's because you're staying in your head. Allow it to drop down into how you feel. And this is how we create massive transformation. So as I said, sometimes I take a compliment, just hear it in my head. Next time, okay, I'll strengthen that element. That was a component of where there was a breakdown. Make it into a soul. And it's been a really amazing experience to keep learning these different dimensions within myself, understanding how I learn best, being able to apply the actions and seeing the results that I've get through the lessons. And, you know, notice when I also find that, you know, I may have slipped back. Okay, where do I need to strengthen it? And this is where we go on that journey of discovering who we are at a person in the level that you're at, because you're never the same person twice, nor do you ever revisit the same situation from that same version of self. So that's why I say don't get caught up on how many times you revisit something. You're a different version of self revisiting that situation, and you're learning it through a different layer within your own self. And break it down into tiny little chunks as to where has been the breakdown, and therefore you know the steps to be able to implement to create strength into your action steps. And then it's about being in the consciousness. The moment you hear a compliment, be conscious of it and let yourself feel into it, to receive not just the words but the emotion, the energy, the feeling that's coming from that person, and therefore also what does that generate within you? How do you feel when you hear these things? And to me, I think the journey that we go on of self-discovery is a lifelong journey. Until you drop dead, you are always going to be learning. So don't get caught up on the lessons. Look into the magic of what is shared with you when you go in and learn these lessons, and give yourself expressions of gratitude to yourself to say, thank you for taking that opportunity to become aware of the lesson, and that you are in that conscious state where you want to elevate and change into been able to learn more about yourself on a deeper level. Because I know there was a time many, many years ago that I'd think, God, how many times do I have to keep revisiting this? Does it mean that I'm freaking not learning my lesson? What is it about it? And I would rather than look at the lesson from an open, objective point of view, to be really open to not only what my lesson is or what my action steps were, I took it from a place of frustration, or that, you know, sometimes I would even use language like, I must be that fucking stupid that I didn't learn my lesson the first time around, that I have to fucking do this again. So it was just pure from anger, frustration, and I would only share that within myself. So even if you're taking action steps, your energetic frequency at that time is completely repelling anything that you're learning anyway, because you are coming from an energetic space of anger and frustration and overwhelm. So there is no open and expansiveness. There's no ability to learn. So that's why I say in that moment, like, don't get me wrong, even when the ladies said the beautiful compliment at the petrol station and I hopped into the car, I'm not going to lie, I sat there and I was like, gee, you're a right asshole, Rachel. But I didn't get caught up on that. It was just that moment of like, it was like a light bulb moment of like, wow. Now, I could have either continued to keep speaking to myself that way, or just be consciously aware of when I said that, I was actually really upset with my own self, because here there was someone that, she doesn't know me like a friend does. She's given me this beautiful compliment and I completely pushed it back in her face, and how that must have made her feel. And that was why I said you were an asshole, not for not receiving it, but how I must have made this person feel, and that didn't make me feel good. And so that was also an important factor when I was thinking about my action steps, that when I go and allow myself to receive something, this person's giving something to me from a gorgeous heart space. How is it that I want to be able to receive this, so that that person then knows that that delivery of that gorgeous compliment, that beautiful energy that they've shared with me by opening their heart, I want them to know that I have received that, so that that person then knows that that I hear, I see them, and I value what they've done. Because the moment that you dismiss it, you're pushing it back in their face that their compliment didn't matter, and that they don't matter, and that had no value to you. So this is what I mean. Things like this have a much bigger impact than what you think it does. So therefore, it gives you these gorgeous opportunities that when you learn these lessons, you are learning so much more, and it allows you to be able to have that gorgeous balance between receiving and giving, because the more you receive, the more you allow the person, the giver, to also receive at the same time too. So it's this beautiful complement of giving and receiving at the same time, because you want that person to know that you've received it, and then through you receiving it allows them to know that they matter and they're valued. So both parties walk away feeling like they both matter. They both are valued and they are both worthy. And that is the whole exercise behind compliments. So that's why I really wanted to have this, because this was something that was a huge aha moment for myself, and I am sure that each and every one of you are learning lots of different lessons for yourself at this point, or maybe able to sit back and go, oh, that was my lesson and I dismissed it. Now what can I do around this now to strengthen it? So and be able to work gorgeously with your soul, that human part of yourself, from a space of expansion, transformation, and elevating to the new next level, but also understanding how you operate and function as well. So there's just all these like win-win-win situations through being able to experience your lessons that you have. So I hope this is really connected with each and every one of you, or gives you an opportunity to go away and think more into how you can work with this, or the next time it comes, that this information is sitting in the forefront of your mind and go, oh sweet, now I know what I can do with this to be able to, you know, make this a gorgeous growth experience where it's just loving every moment along that process by learning, understanding, deepening your connection with yourself, strengthening your connection with your soul, to help you be able to enjoy the journey. Because you know what, we're here to enjoy it. It's not about just being in robot mode. These are the moments that the soul brings these into your awareness for that consciousness, so you get to stay present, which is something that we don't always work all the time. So there's all these beautiful levels and layers within the lessons that we learn from them. So so yeah, this was something that was really important that I wanted to share. So if this is something that connects with you, please feel free to share it along with, don't forget, if you would like to be able to learn more about what your lessons are, how to create your action steps, don't forget that there is the soul sale still going through till Sunday at midnight, with the 3 offers, one being a 30-minute reading, a 60-minute reading, or the BU Oracle cards that are on sale through till this Sunday at midnight. So if you want to be able to elevate and move through, or be able to understand more depths around how to be able to move yourself and move to that next level, work cohesively with your soul, unite with your human part of yourself, jump in. The links are there below for you to jump in, grab these opportunities, and help you along your journey along as well. So I really hope that this is all got all these beautiful, how do you know what level you have obtained? I never really worry about the levels, love, because for me the level is just that if something is brought into my consciousness, you'll know that you're moving to another level. So it means and that's a really awesome question. So I love that you've written that. As I said, in all the 25 years I've been able to do this, that's the one question I can be 100% honest and say to you, I don't have the answer to that. As far as when we move into a new level, for me, a level is every aspect of self. So we have that mental, emotional, physical, soul level, and and spiritual level within each one of those 4 aspects of self is a level. So when you think about using the example that I did, all areas within those were activated to move to a new level. On a mental level, it was be conscious of that I was saying too much in my head, which is also an energy level, which is also a soul level growth, and a physical level, because when I'm in my head, I can feel like I'm in my head. The level of creating transformation, well, that means that I need to be conscious. So that's a mental level, that's an emotional level, that's a soul level, and a spiritual level. So for me, and then inside each one of those levels, then there is layers, and it's when we I'm not sure about that, because I think your comfort zone is just where you have, which is also a great question. Your comfort zone is where you are learning all the layers. And when it's time to move outside of that comfort zone is when you're moving into a new level. And then again, you go through the layers that are in those levels. And it just depends on what your soul needs you to learn, what's the right timing, how can this help you expand and grow to be able to understand, because each thing that is presented to you will provide a new level, but has different layers within that. This time when I'm learning about compliments and receiving, I may learn certain layers in there that the next time I may need to go and learn a different lesson. I may not always have to experience those same layers within inside of that levels. So I think it's always really important to not get caught up on it. It's more about that acknowledgement that when these lessons are being presented, what can happen, and the reason I always use the expression of layers and levels is because it gives you that inspiration. It gives you that reminder that you're expanding. It reminds you of how much inner transformational work that you've done, so that you take a moment to celebrate the journey. But more than that, you celebrate that you're putting in the hard work and the results are starting to show up. Most of the times we never take the moment to sit and actually acknowledge how much hard work that we put into it. And as humans, we need evidence, and we want to see that all the hard work, we're getting something back in return. And this is how our soul does it, that it provides these new next levels and layers. So there's that opportunity to either get down on yourself or go, oh my God, I've evolved and I've grown. This is wicked. I'm getting the evidence that's coming into my awareness that all this hard work is paying off. Hey Judy, how are you, honey? So I think it comes back to each person's perspective, how they think, how they feel, what they perceive around the lessons, as well as the opportunities to move to new levels. The reason I say is not to get too caught up on the layers within the levels or understanding what the level is that you can then get detracted away from what your lesson is, because you get so caught up on oh, what's this next level and what should I be learning in it, rather than just being brought into the focus of what is the lesson and what's supposed. And it's through that awareness of understanding what is your lesson and the action steps that you apply in the consciousness to unite the human soul and self together, that therefore elevates you to the next level. I think if our soul was to always come in and say to you, this is the level that you've got to evolve to, and these are all of the ways in which to do it, do you know what? There'd be no level of, you wouldn't really expand and grow to the level, to the levels that you do, because it'd just be like, oh, okay, I've got to do step one, and you'd go into autopilot mode of going, okay, I've got to do step one, step two, step three, sweet, done that, move on to the next level. Okay, and you just go through this autopilot mode of just going through the motion, but not actually going within and accessing and being able to delve into being able to unlock more and more of our own potential. I'm so pleased that yeah, definitely, Tracy. I've used that expression before. She's written, haven't I dealt with this shit before? Kind of feeling, for sure, it's easy to fall into that. No, you are so right. It's not egotistical to say thank you. Yeah, Helen, I think that too. She's written, fuck, I must have a lot of layers. We all do. Each and every person does, so that's why I say it doesn't, it's not important what the layer in the level is. Just understand that our comfort zone is where we learn the layers within that level, and when it's time to step out of that is where we move and evolve into the next level, and we don't always know what there is inside of that level for you to learn. So that's why it's really important to learn how to tune into your intuition, how to be able to have a deep connection with your soul, to be able to receive that guidance, because the moment that you have awareness around what your soul is giving you that opportunity within that level to learn, therefore you can go in and do it and understand that. Sometimes I learn my lessons through the opposite, through reverse engineering, by fucking shit up, by making mistakes, by walking away and going, shit, like I really managed to fuck that up. And that's not from a place of beating myself up. That's like that just really big aha light bulb moment of like, fuck. So I just really wanted to clear that up, just in case you might have thought that I was like doing that emotional beating myself up. And there's other times that some of the lessons that come into my awareness are really subtle, and I'm like boom, 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 and move through that. But each of them bring in so much levels of awareness within myself. It brings in awareness to be able to understand yourself on new levels, to be able to awaken yourself to new potentials, to be able to give you opportunities to use and operate from different energy frequencies within your own self. Some lessons I learn need to be started off with using the masculine to get that motivation and that drive and that determination. And then there's other parts that I work and start off the process from that feminine. So there are all these different things that get awakened within you when you work and understand what your lessons are. And that is has always been my biggest driver, and why I do what I do is to help each and every one of you learn to have a closer connection to your soul, to receive the guidance, to help yourself along the process. Because I can tell you, in my earlier days, a big portion of my lessons were all learned from choosing the hard option. you know, always choosing the hard pathway, always pushing people away, always thinking that I have to do shit on my own, and really repelling away any opportunity to be able to learn my lessons in a much more flowing state. And so I always had this constant conflict going on within myself of going, fuck, I haven't learnt my lesson, beating myself up, trying to rebuild myself, tearing myself down, lifting myself up, tearing myself down. And that cycle was, you know, even though I knew it was happening, I wasn't focusing on how to strengthen to break those cycles and patterns. And that's because I have learned how to tune into myself. So now I can work from a different place, operate from working more cohesively with my soul. And that's why I love to be able to do these lives, do readings for people, help people learn about their intuition, learn about how to stay connected to that soul. These are all the things that I feel was my mission here on this earth, is to be able to help each and every one of you have that deeper connection, because I can tell you through that I am a much nicer person to myself than what I was when I just had awareness, which is just information in my head, but didn't actually apply it. I didn't actually go in and I applied it, but I applied it from that logical human part, and then my soul would give me something, and I was always operating from a head place. It wasn't until I realized that the reason that some of these things that were being brought that I was constantly revisiting was because I was only revisiting it from the human part and forgot to incorporate that gorgeous, soulful place within myself. Because in my mind many years ago, I thought, oh, my soul gives me guidance and it's up to me to know how to do that. Because there wasn't the wealth of knowledge that is available to this day. So that's how I thought it worked. And it wasn't until I realized that I was receiving the information, but then not working with my soul to incorporate it being my greatest teacher to help me learn these from a head logical reason, because the human part needs to know, why are we doing something? What is it that I'm supposed to do with this? Or what's my benefit? What's my gain? And mine needs to know that. And that's important to have those. But the soul goes, this is how we're going to do it. So let's try operating from this place. So even though my soul was working with me, I was pushing it away when it came to the action steps rather than uniting it and working cohesively with it. Thank you so much, Tracy. I really appreciate the compliment. Thank you, honey. She's written, you're a great teacher. And I often say, thank you from the bottom of my soul, because that is exactly how I feel when I hear that, those words. So thank you. But yeah, these are why I like to come in and do these lives, to be able to help do readings, to be able to big part with, you know, that was a very big driver for me when I created the oracle cards, is that obviously not everyone can have me, cannot always work with me inside either my programs or readings and that all the time. But by creating the cards, I was helping them work on their self and know that every single one of those cards, there has been my heart and soul put into that to help those people be able to learn more about themselves, to be able to explore who they are, and to know that through every card I am there with them along their journey. And these are the moments, and that was a compliment that I had. I had a new client the other day, and they asked about my journey, and I had shared with them that, and they said to me, you must feel really proud of everything that you have accomplished considering where you began from. And it was like, thank you. Yes, I am really proud of myself. And I let myself feel into it, not just go, yeah, I am really proud, and move on. It was that beautiful moment of working with and not only receiving that compliment for my head place, but into my soul, because everything that I've created over the last 4 years has been operated from my soul passion and purpose and mission that I feel that I'm put here on this earth. So if any of those offers resonate with you and you'd love to be able to jump in and either have a reading that is primarily around being able to understand what is your lesson, how can you implement action steps to be able to move forward, so that's something that you can work on. Or you would love to receive a deck of oracle cards so that you know that I'm with you every single step of the way with the cards. Or if you want to jump into my Sacred Oracle program, I haven't put a link there, you know, send me a message and I'm happy to jump on a Sacred Soul chat and see if what I have really deeply connects with you. But just know that every single step of the way, your soul is working with you. And if you would like someone to support you while you go on that journey, I'm here for you. So I love that this is connected with each and every one of you. Understand that you have these beautiful lessons that your soul is giving you an opportunity to celebrate the amazing person that you are. Because every time I received a compliment, it was that recognition of back to soul of I'm learning my lesson, but I'm also learning more about my own self. And that came from, excuse me, a whole new level of gratitude for myself. I was grateful that I was taking the journey to be able to explore what my lesson was. I was grateful to unlock new levels within my own self, to relearn new things about my own self and to operate from a different level, moving into that feminine, gorgeous space of being that ideal receiver rather than just thinking that I'm here to serve and give to others. I was actually applying what I teach others and making sure that I'm learning my lessons along the way. Definitely, Jean-Marie, she's written, the more that you help yourself, the more that you are related with others, and being flexible with that, definitely. And that's important to be able to understand, is to have that flexibility that, you know, as I shared before, like sometimes when I would take a compliment, I'd taken the compliment, but there were other little factors that I hadn't taken on board, which was taking on the energy, taking on the gratitude, taking on the opening of my heart, operating from the feminine space, moving into the feel zone of being connected within my soul. So as I said, the level was the lesson, which was to be a great receiver, but my layer was gratitude, expansion of heart, stay connected to my soul, celebrate my successes. Every time I did something, not only would I say thank you for the compliment, but I would then go in and go, yay, Rachel, like this, you're getting stronger at this. So therefore it'd be that celebration of the hard work is paying off. So these are all the beautiful moments that, you know, doing the inner work isn't about dredging up the crap. It can be the most fun, enjoyable, most, for me, I've always said, I'm not going to lie, the journey hasn't always been, you know, I'll walk in the freaking park. I fucking wish it was, but it hasn't, you know. Some of these lessons I've learned have been really fucking hard. But I will never, ever dismiss the fact of, I am so grateful that I decided to go down the journey that I have. I know for 100% of a fact that I would not be the person that I am today had I not done this. And my greatest pleasure has been able to help and support other people that want to go on that journey. So sometimes, so therefore they don't have to do the hard shit like I chose. I can speed up that process for you and make it so much more enjoyable. But I've learned so much about my own self, and I am always continuing to learn things about myself. And sometimes I learn that through other things that people present to me, so that I get an opportunity to learn about myself, sometimes that I've forgotten. And there is this beauty that comes from that, and massive expression of gratitude. So yeah, I'm so grateful that each and every one of you have jumped on, that this has resonated. It's going to give you a new opportunity to look at your lessons from a different place, to be able to see all the variable opportunities for you to continue to expand, to be able to reunite with your own self and deepen that connection of being able to remind yourself of what an incredibly gorgeous soul you are for taking this journey, because it's not for the fucking faint-hearted, I tell you. I tell you, when I first started this journey, I was like self-discovery and working with my soul and intuition. I was so naive. I was like, man, I'm going to give this 12 months. I am going to be such an enlightened freaking soul. I'm going to be like the Dalai Lama in 12 months. You watch me. I'm just going to go at this hardcore. And man, was that the biggest illusion that I ever had. And that's why I always want to be able to share with you that while you're here living, while you're taking breath, you are living, you are learning. So don't put time frames on it. Don't, box things up that you have to learn in this particular way or that certain style or this is the way that it's going to come. That's the fastest way to put yourself into total disillusionment and repeat old cycles, because that's what it did. When I felt that I hadn't, when I had continued all of those different lessons, I had felt like it kept me stuck in a place of repeating old cycles, of beating myself up by not seeing my value or my worthiness or being open. But I can say that there was a portion of that was because I didn't have teachers. I didn't have someone to help support me along my journey. So that made it, everything was harder because there was no guidance around at that time when I started this journey. So that is why is a big portion of why I created the Sacred Oracle, is to fast track some of those processes, to break those cycles and break those patterns within your own self. And for me, when I realized that I had gained so much wealth of knowledge that I could help people along their journey, this was the biggest transformational thing within my own self that made all of the hard lessons, all of the hard options that I had chosen become the most valuable gift because I had been able to learn what didn't work and why. So therefore, when I created new action steps and I tried different processes, I started to be able to tick off what works, and then all that gorgeous bits of gold that I've learned along the way is now deeply embedded into my program to fast track the hardship that's out there, because I think I took every single one of them at the beginning for many years. And I tell you, it wasn't a beautiful journey. It wasn't like I was sitting there meditating going, oh my God, I am so in love with myself. Thank you for the lessons. It certainly wasn't like that in any way, shape or form. It was more like what I call like a Homer Simpson. I reckon my soul self was grabbing me around the throat and going, what are you doing? There are other nicer options available to you. Let's try them out. So yeah, that's what I say. And I'm also really grateful that I have a warped sense of humor, that I can have these moments to be able to laugh at some of the choices that I made, so that I can see the lesson. So it made the journey a lot more lighthearted for myself. So I didn't repeat those cycles of continuing to beat myself up. So remember, sometimes we laugh at some of the silly mistakes that we make, but that also in that laughter breaks that cycle of repeating actions. It reminds you that you're human. It reminds you should be able to, God, if you can't laugh at your own self and some of the silly mistakes that you make along the way, you don't get to see the gorgeous lessons as well. So be flexible, have fun with yourself. And remember, if something doesn't work, there are other options available to you. There is no just one pathway. Remember, each person is so uniquely designed to be you, hence the name of the Oracle cards. So it's not a one size fits all. Like I could share one bit of information with one student and I need to deliver it in a way that they fully understand it and receive it. And yet the next time when I work with another student, I need to be able to deliver that same concept, but it needs to be delivered a completely different way because of how that person is designed, because we are all unique. And that's the beauty of it, is that just when you think you know yourself on a certain level or layer, you elevate and you go on a new journey. And that's why I always say you are a teacher and a student all at the one time. You are learning, applying, and then we share that knowledge with other people. And then we go back to being the student of unlocking something new within your own self. So you go through that beautiful journey of self-discovery. So never get caught up on thinking that, you know, be completely naive like I did and think, well, I'm going to put this much time and effort in, and this is the length of time, and let's go on, open, and I'm going to learn everything I need to do, and I'm never going to have to revisit these things again. Good luck, because I tell you, that was the biggest illusion I learned along the way. So I hope that really connects with you. So yeah, have an amazing day, each and every one of you. If you want to be able to jump in and grab either of the offers with the soul sale, the links are there. I didn't put it in the link for the Sacred Oracle program because I didn't think it wasn't a part of my awareness, but now you get to all understand as to where my passion, where my mission, what my goal and desires, and where my heart and soul comes from, and gets presented through each one of these ways that I get to work with each people and to help each one of you. So I didn't think about talking about the Sacred Oracle problem, but if you want to be able to jump in, have a Sacred Oracle chat to see if the program is something you would like to be able to learn more about and see if it's a fit for you, then just send me a private message and we can jump in and have a chat. And even if it's not a fit for you, the one thing I can guarantee with each and every soul chat is that it's not just about, hey, here's my program. Of course I'm going to talk about it. It's my love, it's my mission, it's my passion. Of course I love it, and I want to be able to share that with as many people. But one thing I can guarantee is by the time you jump off, I will have shared with you ways in where you can continue to work and be able to help yourself expand and grow, because it's not about just getting, it's also about how I can continue to give to you to help you along your journey. So much love to you all. Thank you each and every one of you for jumping on today. I really love doing this live with you. Much love to you all. Take care, be good, be kind, and remember, your soul is working with you every single step of the way. So be flexible and have some fun as you go through your exploration of learning about yourself, unlocking more levels, and being more aware to your own potential, and then strengthening that. Each and every one of you are incredibly gorgeous souls. It really is our time where we're moving into a new dimension, a new level where it's okay to let yourself shine. So take care, and much love to you all. See you guys. Thanks for joining me for today and for all the gorgeous, beautiful compliments. Thank you.